friends and family, my mother, Vanessa, and I, and our families would like to thank you all for being here. Bob Marley once said, "The greatness of a man is not how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively." Just hours after being told my dad had an uncurable disease, my father struck up a conversation with a nurse and had her laughing, smiling, and sharing stories of her life like she was talking to an old friend. I've watched my dad do this time after time, but never really realized until that moment what a gift he had to create such a positive, comfortable atmosphere for even someone he had known for only moments. My dad was stronger than I gave him credit for. He had been in a few accidents that left him in constant pain over the years. I guess when you have to live with that kind of pain, you have a different definition of what feeling good or good health consists of. He wasn't much of a complainer, at least not to me. And that's why 4 weeks ago, he let his son literally drag him onto the ice to go fishing because he knew it was what I needed. He, like always, would push through the pain and be there for his son, who just needed to catch one last walleye with his father. It was. He put his family first. So he fished his butt off that day and caught some walleye with his son. He was born the fourth of 6 siblings to Francis and Max Faurot. They grew up on pots of bean soup and cabbage stew. He loved his family with all his heart. He adored his sisters. You would too if they fed you special ice cream made out of Crisco. He had a healthy respect for his brother, who taught him to always respect fire and your mama. In all seriousness, though, his family meant the world to him. His love of the outdoors was born on the fishing trips to Holden Lake with his father and brother, bicycle trips down to Rice Creek swimming, and hunting with his cousin Billy. Kelly, my dad loved you with all his heart, and he cherished every moment he spent with you and your families. Part of what made my dad so special was his ability to empathize and connect with those around him. It wasn't charity, it wasn't sympathy. He was right there with you, listening, walking the same path, and doing whatever he could to support you through any of those tough moments. This, and his extraordinary ability to engage people in a conversation that leads to a telling of your life story, is why he was able to build friendships that stood the test of time, and how he was able to drive my mom crazy just by stopping at the gas station. As Pastor Don said, there was no such thing as a quick trip with my dad. Items that might sell for a high price, but my dad collected something infinitely more precious. He collected people. Each one of you were precious to him. He treated his friends with care and respect that I hope he has instilled in me. He has been building these lasting friendships since grade school with people like Jim Summers, Mike Sillabraze, and Tim Peterson. And throughout his life with guys like Randy Campbell, Jim and Joe Keita, Brian Gay, Brad DeCamp, Todd Putney, Terry Samons, Doug Straczynski, and all of you sitting here before me. He lived to fish and deer hunt with his friends. If you looked up the definition of buck fever in the Hunter's Dictionary, you will no doubt find a picture of my father. His wall was filled with trophies, and it didn't matter if it had 1 point or 13, because it meant he was spending time doing what he loved with and his friends were there with him. He put a lot of effort into organizing and creating the inaugural AutoCam ice fishing trip and booking charters on Polecat. Those trips, and little did you know that while he was sharing something that he loved with you, that you were being added to his collection. And of course, there's Mark. Mark, I don't know what my dad would have done without you. I do know he loved you unconditionally. The stories that these two would tell me while riding around in the single cab Chevy are treasures in their own right. There wasn't much that they didn't do together. They worked together, deer hunted, fished, cut wood, raised dogs, mushroom hunt, or sometimes they just hung out in the barn until they come up with a good idea. You are always there for him right until the end, and I am forever grateful for that. The two of you helped shape me into the man that I am today. And while you have 3 beautiful girls of your own, you have always been like a second dad to me. I just want you to know that I will always be here for you, like you were here for him. My dad met my mom when he was 15 years old while working at McDonald's, and it was love at first sight, and I ain't talking about the French fries. When she finally agreed to go out with him, he insisted that they were going to get married. That was as formal as his proposal ever got. Instead of a ring, he gave her an engagement motorcycle that she never even got to ride. They were married in July of 1977, and 3 years later started their family. He became the man behind the camera then, always capturing memories, and at the time, probably seemed a little annoying to all of us, but as we got older, we appreciated it much more. From capturing my football games, to Vanessa, his pumpkin, playing soccer, running cross, or twirling baton. He never missed an opportunity to support his kids. My mom and dad were working toward their 41st year of marriage this year, and they were still growing strong. It wasn't just because he had Shorty tattooed on his arm. These two were the real deal. Through thick and thin, good times and bad, they stuck it out, and that's getting to be pretty rare these days. Yeah. He was always there for his family, and that made us always want to return the favor. For Mel, that was the unending task of fixing Old Red, or whatever vehicle was the latest casualty in Mom's war on deer. His first grandchild into the war in 2004, and imagine my wife's shock when she announced that she was only allowing me in the delivery room, and my dad was loudly disappointed because he thought he was going to be in there videotaping him. Caden had a rough start and spent his first night in Kalamazoo away from the comfort of his mother. But Grandpa was right by his side and mine. He would continue to be there for Zyra, Lily, Larkin, spending holiday weekends up north with them, attending sporting events, playing video games, and having sleepovers. Caring, honest, sensitive, empathetic, extrovert, funny, loving, son, brother, husband, father, and friend. These are just a few of the words I would use to describe my father. He taught me more than I could ever convey, and I will do my best to make him proud and honor his last wish of me to take care of my mother. I loved him living, and I love him still. Thank you.